Now, here's what I'm going to do is we're going to do the next round going into the discussion about environmental sustainability. Catherine, I'm going to take the first stab at questions of our panel, but once I've gone through the first round of questions, I'll throw to you and you can do the second round of questions and then we'll go to the audience. So let me start off by telling you my bias. I've done a number of segments on this in the last year on the issue of net zero. And as soon as Europe went down the path of saying that net zero was the goal, I thought, we got this, we can do this. We can use carbon technology and be able to capture it and store it underground, or capture it and use it for useful purposes, or we could offset using the green mechanism for the transfer in the Paris Agreement. So I've been very enthusiastic about it, but I may be alone on this. So I don't want to let my enthusiasm overshadow just the incredible amount of work that needs to be done to actually get to net zero. Michael has in the past told me that net zero means different things to different people, and so I want to put it to him the question of, is net zero for the energy sector achievable? And give us your sense of what it is that you think you can do. Plus, I need you to talk a bit about your project in Quebec, because you've proposed it as a net zero project. I love it as a potential showcase for two Quebecers about what is possible and what can be done. And I want to know what it is and why you're having trouble getting that one put forward.
Well, I'm happy to address both of those things, and the rest of the panelists, you might as well just leave them. I want to make one quick thing. I published Canada's very first paper on carbon leakage, and I did it because there wasn't one, and it's a travesty that this government put in a tax, and it's not carbon pricing, it's a tax without studying carbon leakage. And carbon leakage just basically means you put a tax here, the jobs and emissions go somewhere else, right? And so I just want to make the quick comment that I'm in favor of incentivizing people to reduce emissions, not penalizing people for heating their homes and commuting to work. And I think we can do that with carbon pricing or with the US approach of incentives. The current excise tax on fuel is just a terrible policy. So with that, I'll answer your question now. Okay, so I think I'll just talk to the one point. What I think a lot of people don't understand is that hydrocarbons are decomposed plant fat. Plankton, maybe decomposed animal plants, but small animals and algae and so on and so forth. So it literally is nature's solution. The plants grow, the plant fat decomposes, it turns into oil and gas. We put it back in the atmosphere, and Mother Nature is extremely good at recycling this. It's extremely good. Not so good that it's keeping up with the amount of emissions that we put into the air now. But the point I'm talking about, the carbon, just to make the point about organic chemistry, is it's really cool and it's really well understood. You can take CH4 molecules, a gas molecule, you break it apart, energy comes out, carbon dioxide comes out, water comes out. You can take the carbon dioxide and the water, if you put energy in, they go back together. In nature, the energy is from the sun. No reason why you can't do it in a plant and have an energy source from somewhere else. So I've had panels, Danielle's been with me, dozens and dozens of different technologies where you can, in a plant, take CO2 and water and turn it into really interesting stuff. Alcohols, industrial alcohols, consumer alcohols, industrial products, calcium carbonate, magnesium carbonate, carbon black, carbon pitch, carbon nanotubes, all kinds of cement additives. The list is endless what you can do with it. We can today, if we choose to afford it, capture and recycle all the CO2. It's a cost. There's a cost. But the technology is known. We can do it. It's just a cost. So this idea of the path to net zero, for me, I think for oil and gas, it can be completely sustainable if we choose it to be sustainable. And I think we've reached a point where people are willing to, as I say, we're now putting a deposit on the can of Coke. When I was a kid, we didn't recycle tin cans. Today we do, right? Put a deposit on the can of Coke, put a deposit on and this is where I think true carbon pricing is better than what we're doing with our taxes here. But put a deposit on the ton of CO2, and I think you're going to find all kinds of amazing new technologies come out. Some of them are already out that's going to recycle the CO2. So I'll stop